Okay, let's get into this. Most of the time on the deep dive, we're dissecting policy papers, crunching data, trying to figure out these huge economic forecasts. But sometimes I think the most revealing stuff is right there in the mundane records of daily life. And you brought us exactly that, the weekly police and sheriff reports for the city of Antigo, that's Antigo and Langlade County. And it covers that weird week between the old year and the new one, December 30, 2025 through January 7, 2026. It says in Just News, it feels more like the raw sociological blueprint of a small town.
It is. It really is. This deep dive is like our shortcut to the local pulse. We're not looking at academic studies here. We're looking at the data points that fuel every single conversation at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Our whole mission here is to just highlight the wild, the weird, and the really critical moments. And what's so fascinating is how these reports paint this complete picture. You have moments of genuine, high-stakes trauma sitting right next to the most laughably trivial stuff. We'll be using local spots in Neva Road, US 45, County Road J as our markers.
Huh?
And for anyone who knows Antigo or Elcho, which is LCR, that's really all the context you need. So let's jump in.
Okay, let's start inside the city limits with the Antigo Police Department reports. And right away, the big theme is just the classic Midwest traffic battle. Even if the snow isn't that bad, it seems like the cars themselves are just determined to cause problems.
It's constant cycle. It's mechanical failure meets human impatience. I mean, take the incident on Neva Road. A Ford Explorer breaks down. But not just anywhere. It breaks down right in a turn lane. So the officer has to physically get involved to move the vehicle out of traffic and into, like, the quick trip entrance.
That is the perfect symbol of small-town assistance, isn't it? A sworn police officer playing traffic director to get a broken-down SUV into a gas station parking lot.
Right.
So everyone else can get their morning coffee. It's less high-speed chase and more, I don't know, traffic flow consultant.
And that kind of low-level management, it extends to pedestrians, too. We saw two separate incidents, one on a Saturday, one on a Sunday, both around Superior Street.
Yeah.
Yeah, where officers had to literally advise people to use the sidewalk. It's not just a rule. It's this constant, low-level reminder of, how to safely move around a town.
The drama in the city is so quick and transactional. You've got the standard property damage accident, a box van versus a Subaru at Pine Street and Fifth. It's unavoidable, but it gets resolved fast.
But here's where we get a really interesting insight into small-town thinking. Look at the fender bender over at Century Avenue and Neva Road.
Minor collision, right. Drivers slam on their brakes, and then instead of waiting for police or calling insurance, they just left. Both of them, immediately.
Wait, they just drove off. No exchange of information, nothing.
That's what the report indicates. And the takeaway here isn't necessarily, that they're avoiding the law. It's more of an insight into the economic value of their time. For a little dent, their first thought is, I have to get back to work, or I don't have time for this.
They just can't be bothered with the hassle.
Exactly. They prioritize their schedule over the official process. It's this fascinating kind of informal tolerance for small problems.
The informal legal system of Antigo. Which, speaking of small problems, we have to talk about the great retail crime of the week. This one was reported on State Road 64.
Ah, yes.
This was a multi-pronged criminal enterprise.
It really was.
The suspect was accused of, 1, consuming candy while in the store, and 2, swapping price tags on other items. It's part theft, part bureaucratic fraud. That is maximum effort for minimum return. And it just perfectly captures the severity of some of the city calls,
It really does. But while the crime is, pretty laughable, eating candy and swapping tags, the vigilance of the community is actually incredibly high.
That's the thing. This watchfulness, it leads us right into the next theme. Spotting suspicion.
This is where you learn just how closely people are watching each other. My absolute favorite report here is from 4th Avenue. A resident calls in because they saw someone photographing a house and then going inside.
The possibility.
Right. Was it a burglar casing the joint? An investigative reporter? Maybe just a really proud Airbnb host getting pictures of the new decor?
And we'll never know.
We'll never know. The source just says the activity was noted. The high-stakes photography session remains a mystery.
And that lack of resolution is part of the story itself.
Right.
The community reports things that look weird. The police check it out. It's not really paranoia. It's just, it's standard procedure for them.
Yeah.
You see it with that vehicle on Neva Road that was reported, and it turned out to be nothing. And a lot of these checks, they turn out to be, well, wholesome.
Wholesome is a good word for it.
Like the call from the Dairy Queen on Neva. Someone thought something sketchy was going on, but it was just employees chatting after they'd closed up.
Right, just winding down. And the most heartwarming one has to be the driver behind Castaways on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, I loved this one.
They called the police themselves proactively just to say they were leaving their car there overnight. Why? Because they wanted to make sure they got a safe ride home. That is just the peak small town responsibility.
I agree, it is responsible, but let's pause on that for a second, because does it show responsible maturity, or is it maybe a sign of deep community distrust?
What do you mean?
Well, the idea that you feel you have to call law enforcement about a completely innocent act, leaving your car parked, just to make sure no one gets suspicious.
That's a really good point. Maybe the culture of watching each other is so intense that you have to get an official seal of approval on something totally normal. It's like safety through constant observation.
And that observation is happening right alongside the really serious stuff.
Right.
A probation hold was executed on Claremont Street for a no-contact violation. There was a death investigation.
Right. The police have to constantly shift gears from something minor to something incredibly serious.
And don't forget the bureaucracy.
Oh, of course.
The door-to-door salesman on First Avenue who was told to stop selling until he got the right city permits. That's a true Antigo misdemeanor. Improper paperwork.
And before we leave the city, we have to talk about the pure, unexpected nature report. Saturday morning. A call about a dog.
The spinning dog.
A dog spinning in circles on the highway near South Superior Street. Not running, not lost, spinning.
Yeah.
I just need to know the police procedure for that. How do you document a canine existential crisis on a highway? Was it dizzy? Happy? We'll never know.
It's the kind of thing that just shows you how unpredictable the day-to-day can be. Now, let's head out of the city. We'll take US 45 north into Langlade County territory, where the sheriff's office takes over.
And things change out there.
Oh, yeah. The pace changes. The environment becomes the main character. The stakes get higher. And the reports get a lot weirder.
Okay, so we're trading city bureaucracy for rural chaos. And the sheriff's wild ride starts with infrastructure just failing spectacularly. New Year's Eve morning, there's a property damage accident, and the culprit isn't some reckless driver, it's a plow truck that backed into another vehicle.
That's some real irony there, The one thing that's supposed to make the road safe is causing the accident.
Exactly, and the challenges don't stop. There's a recurring complaint on West Bear Lake Road about garbage cans being left in the road. Out there, that's not just an annoyance, that's a serious hazard.
It really is, especially at night. And if it's not the infrastructure, it's the animals. You have the standard deer collisions, of course.
Right, a driver in US 45 hits a deer, gets a kill tag. Standard stuff.
But then you get into the really unique drama, like the report of pigs. Pigs running wild on State Road 64. And then my personal favorite, the mystery of the dead duck.
Ah, yes, the dead duck. Found in a garbage bag near a ditch on County Road B.
A deputy disposed of it.
Just another day at the office.
We have to stop and appreciate this for a second. That one single log entry deputy disposed of dead duck found in a garbage bag. That tells you everything you need to know about a rural deputy's job.
It really does.
They are now officially municipal waste managers for bizarre animal incidents.
It symbolizes that centralization of roles, and you see it again with how they act as extensions of the DNR.
Department of Natural Resources, yeah.
Right. There was that incident on County Road J where a deputy had to dispatch a deer in a ditch so a citizen could legally harvest it. It's law enforcement and conservation management all in one. Okay, so now let's get to the true human element, where the drama really escalates. Because the sheriff's reports, they get jarringly serious.
Absolutely. The first one is the welfare check from Elm Rd. A neighbor found a naked individual in the snow.
Whoa, hang on. Naked in the snow? What happened?
Allegedly, he'd been kicked out of the house by his mother. I mean, it's the horrifying mix of family conflict, exposure, vulnerability. The deputies had to track him down at another house just to make sure he was okay.
It just completely changes the tone of the whole week. You go from stolen candy to real life-threatening trauma in a heartbeat.
And that human frailty, when you combine it with modern technology, that created the second major incident. Over on State Road 55 and Clapper Road, a car ends up in the ditch.
And the reason?
The driver was following Google Maps and just went around a corner way too fast.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me. This is the collision point between our digital world and rural reality. The terrain out there, it does not care about your phone's algorithm.
Precisely. Google Maps gives you this sense of confidence, but it can't account for an icy patch or how sharp an unpaved corner really is. This incident is a modern parable. Blind faith in tech literally puts you in a ditch.
You have to respect the roads out there in a way you just don't in the city. And clearly, the sheriff's office was dealing with high-stakes trauma all week.
All week, there was a major rollover on County Road A and Schmidt Drive, a Chevy Traverse. The driver was trapped, and they had to put a helicopter on standby for a flight to Wausau.
That's a huge
A
response.
huge response. And that was followed by a vehicle fire on State Road 55 after a car hit a tree. The vehicle's fully engulfed, plus an aggressive patient needing medical transport that required deputies to stand by. It's just high stress.
So we've seen it all. The low-level maintenance in the city sidewalks, permits, candy, and then the high-stakes management in the county pigs, trauma, tech failures. But the one thread connecting all of it seems to be that spirit of people just helping out.
It is. Even with all the chaos, you see things like the bystander with a pickup truck who just stopped and pulled a red SUV out of a ditch on County Road S. The community sees a gap, and they step in.
So what's the takeaway for you listening to this, whether you live in Antigo or just drive through?
Well, I think it means that if you're on Neva Road, you need to accept that a car might break down and block the only way into K-Wick Trip.
Right. And if you're walking on Superior Street, for goodness sakes, use the sidewalk. And if you're out on County Road 55, understand that Google Maps is not your god. Your eyes are way more reliable.
And above all, just know that your neighbors are watching. They're incredibly vigilant. They're reporting everything that looks even a little bit out of place.
Which brings us to our moral of the week, pulled directly from the collective chaos of Antigo and Langlade County. Always, always secure your city permit. Don't put blind faith in your GPS on a country road. And for the love of all that is decent, just leave the candy at the register.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. These reports really show how much a community like Langlade County relies on local law enforcement for. Well, for everything. A deputy's job is part serious crash investigator, part family counselor, part conservation agent, part neighborhood mediator, and yes, part dead duck disposal expert. So what does that massive centralization of all these different social and emergency roles, what does it really mean for the fabric of small-town American life?
Ponder that. And stay watchful on your next drive down US 45. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive. Be vigilant, be aware, and stay engaged. We'll see you next time.